Well, long time no see. Haven't uploaded in about, what has it been? 2 months or so? Something like that. 2 months or so. Something like that. But, yeah. Haven't uploaded in a long while. It's been a, little while since I uploaded. Or even streamed for that matter. But, I was just finishing up school and stuff. So now that it's summer, should be back to recording and uploading more. I know I always say this, but now I have no excuse. So excuses are thrown out the window, and I should be getting back to Fortnite content and whatever else I decide to upload. But the reason I am coming on video today to talk to you guys is because I do want to say that I have been absent, and I'm sorry about that. But I also want to talk about my podcast, which as you can see here, it's called The Second Take. And I started this podcast, as you can see, at the beginning of June with my two friends, Justin and Jacob, who you will hear in the podcast if you decide to listen to it, which I would strongly recommend you guys, because it'd be supporting me, because I know you guys support me a lot, even though I don't upload a lot or whatever else. But I would appreciate if you guys would check out the link in the description which I am gonna link. It's gonna be this Linktree link, which is it's gonna link to everywhere where you can find the podcast and also the socials of the podcast. I know we have a Instagram and a Twitter for the podcast, so if you guys want to get updates on the podcast and whatever else and whatever we're talking about on the podcast, you can go follow those socials to get updates on the podcast and stuff like that. But let me give you guys a brief description real quick of what this podcast is about. So as you can see, it's called The Second Take. So if you don't know what First Take is, it's basically this show where Stephen A., Max Kettleman, and their host Molly, but I forget what her last name is. It's basically it's a sports show where they like debate about sports topics and whatever. And we came up with the idea that we want to do the Second Take, where we would do this basically the same thing as them, but we would debate topics in our own way, because obviously we're not them, we're not the big media heads that they are. So we wanted to we wanted to do The Second Take as a sports podcast, where every week we get on and we talk about sports news, talk about what's going on. And it's actually been a lot of fun to do a podcast. I didn't think it would be this much fun to do a podcast, but it's actually been a lot of fun to do this podcast. And we actually have 4 episodes out now. So just a little information about what we do about uploading. We upload every Monday at 10 a.m. So what we talk about in the podcast is usually about previous news, sports news in that week, whether it's regarding the NHL, MLB, NFL, NBA, and any of the sports news that ends up going on that we find that we want to have questions on and debate about. We end up putting those in the podcast. And it's just a lot of, and we have special guests on and stuff like that. It's not just the 3 main hosts of us, of me, Jacob, and Justin. We also have special guests on most of the time, and they give their intake about certain things. So for the first 2 episodes that we did, it was just me, Justin, and Jacob talking about the questions that we had. And you guys can certainly go listen to those. Those are good episodes. But episode 3 and episode 4 are really the episodes where we actually have guests on, and they give their perspective on what they think about the certain topics. That's why you can see that the first 2 were like 20-ish minutes, but the second 2 were 32 and 37 minutes respectively. So honestly, if you guys are into sports and you guys like supporting me as a content creator, I would greatly recommend you guys go check out our podcast and subscribe to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else you want to, or you listen to podcasts too on Google Podcasts or wherever else. But I would greatly appreciate you guys supporting us there. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would go listen to our podcast every week, and it would be greatly appreciated. So that's all I wanted to do in this video, is just basically talk about our podcast, stuff like that. And also, I will be back to regularly scheduled streams and videos. I'll upload a Fortnite video in the beginning of it. I'll talk about it, but that's enough for that. So I just wanted to talk about our podcast, stuff like that, and I will be leaving a link in the description to the Linktree where you guys can go. It will source you to wherever you want to listen to the podcast, and I would greatly appreciate if you guys would check it out. And thank you guys for watching this video. I greatly appreciate all of you guys for sticking around, because I know I've been consistent with uploads and whatever else over the past year. because it really haven't been consistent since last summer. So I do hope to get back to that level that I was at last summer, to where I'm gaining subs and stuff like that. But thank you to all you guys who have stuck around and supported me as long as it has been. But I'm going to be signing off here. Make sure to go check out the podcast, the Linktree link in the description, to go follow the podcast and wherever you want to listen to it to. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out, guys, and hope you're doing well.